What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into Front Yard Fantasy. Today, we are talking my two must-draft running backs for the 2022 season. If you're looking for Marco's picks, if you're looking for Jay's picks, those are coming over the next couple of weeks. If you're looking for wide receivers, my must-draft wide receivers just dropped yesterday. Check that out. Again, Marco and Jay's picks, those are coming down the road, so keep an eye out for those. Before we get into it, if you like what we're doing here at FYF, subscribe, hit the bell, get notifications, comment, like the video, all those YouTube things. Let us hear what you guys think about these two picks specifically, or really any other topic. Just hit us with it down below, and we will hit you guys up as soon as we can. Let's jump into it. Number one on the list, my must-draft running back to start the season is Saquon Barkley. And I know what you're thinking, right? Well, he wasn't good last season. He's on the Giants still. He's injury prone now, right? Those are the three things everybody says. Yes, I mean, technically those are true, but as far as the situation goes, things have changed in New York, it seems. Yes, Daniel Jones is still the quarterback, and that sucks, but the offensive line is significantly better. It has improved light years beyond what Barkley has dealt with the last couple of seasons, and they have a new head coach that is going to help feature their best playmakers in the offense, right? You're not having a special teams coordinator in Joe Judge kind of give you a a joke of an offense and really just kind of leave everybody out there to kind of flounder and fail. That's not what's going to happen this season. They have an actual competent offensive mind calling plays. That's a huge piece of this, right? Again, we like to say Barkley's talented enough to not really care about the offensive line or the play caller, but nobody really can overcome the incompetence that was Joe Judge. So hopefully with Barkley, we're going to see leaps and bounds compared to the last, couple of seasons. And the big piece here, one of the bigger piece I don't think can really be understated or overstated, is Saquon Barkley is now 2 years removed from that ACL tear. And looking at Matthew Betts' article from the Fantasy Footballers, he has a great study, and he looked at three of the more recent running backs under the age of 25 to have ACL tears. And, how did they fare year one to year two after their ACL tears? Right? You have Dalvin Cook, a player, I think, from these three guys is the best sample for Saquon Barkley. Dalvin Cook, the year after his ACL tear, averaged 12 points a game. Right? Okay, that's terrifying. That's not great. Year two, he averaged 19 points a game. That is a enormous increase, and again, it has to do with just having more trust and feeling comfortable on his ACL again, right, on his legs there. So that is a huge indicator. But it's not just the elite players. Look at Deion Lewis, who tore his ACL at 25 years old. He went from 6.6 points a game up to 11.3 in year two, removed from that ACL tear. And this one, this kind of says it all. Rashad Penny went from 1 point a game the year after his ACL tear to 11.9 points a game. That is a huge endorsement for what I think we can expect from Saquon Barkley. And again, I think Barkley probably compares best to Dalvin Cook here, being that they're both, in my mind, elite running backs, elite pass catchers, and are going to be, focal points of their offenses. That's the key here. Saquon Barkley carries RB1 upside. And I'm not saying top 12. I'm saying he carries the RB1 upside. We saw it in his rookie season, right? That type of volume, that type of work is what you want from your running back. Now, is Saquon Barkley going to go back to rookie level type of volume? No, I don't think Saquon Barkley is getting 120 targets again. But over all four of his seasons, if you stat out for 17 games, right? And again, it's tough to predict injury. I'm not going to say someone's guaranteed to get hurt. So we'll look at the 17-game pace here. All four of those seasons, he was projected to finish over 75 targets. That type of volume is damn near impossible to find, especially with a running back that's going to see 200-plus carries, right? You're looking at a guy that's going to be around 300-plus opportunities on an offense that should be improved, behind an offensive line that's going to actually allow him to be successful on the ground. That type of volume, that type of hopefully uptick in efficiency, and even touchdown opportunities, all of that combined leads to Saquon Barkley being massively undervalued, right? Again, being drafted at RB 14 over on Fantasy Pros in the middle of the second round, think back 2-3 years. If you, if you were going to get a 25-year-old Saquon Barkley in the middle of the second round, you would say that's the easiest pick of all time. And I think it is, right? It's like him, DeAndre Swift are the two auto drafts at running back in round 2, right at that turn there. Even taking Barkley at the end of the first, I think is a fine pick, right? Obviously, there's some kind of risk there. He has been hurt the last couple of seasons. You can't just completely throw it away. But I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to kind of throw it away and say, I want the upside. I want the chance at the overall RB1 that late in my draft. Again, because if you think you can get that type of guy at the back of the first, that is how you kind of differentiate yourself from league mates who thought they drafted a better running back earlier. So again, Saquon Barkley is a must-draft guy at RB14 right now. It's too good to pass up. Do not make that mistake and let him slip past you either in the first or the second round if you're picking on the turn there. And the next guy here, and if you followed me on Twitter, if you followed us when we were at 14P, this pick is not going to surprise you. It's someone we've been talking about acquiring in every dynasty league since, middle of January, early February. It is Travis Etienne. Right now on Fantasy Pros, he is being drafted as the RB21. I get it to an extent, right? James Robinson is back, kind of, right? What may be a shell of James Robinson, we don't know yet. He is already practicing coming off of his Achilles tear. Travis Etienne has never played a snap in the NFL. I get both of those factors. I don't really care that he hasn't played because we know he's a good player. He was a first-round NFL draft pick. He balled out in college as a receiver and a runner, but specifically in the receiving game, 85 receptions for 1,020 yards over his last 2 seasons. That type of talent, that type of receiving upside is reminiscent of a DeAndre Swift, a guy that isn't going to ever be, a 300-touch running back, but can still ball out in fantasy and, again, win leagues. I think that's where Etienne kind of falls in terms of his skill set, his pass catching, his running ability. I think that's a very good comp in a similar situation to why, this breakout has been predicted by so many for so many months now, right? That's the kind of mold you're looking for. Elite pass catchers that have explosiveness, can run, and can have a nose for the end zone there. But DeAndre Swift comp aside, looking at his overall situation, you're looking at a new head coach in Doug Peterson, who, regardless of what you think of him, we know he's better than Urban Meyer ever was, right? The dysfunction we saw in Jacksonville, that's going to be gone to some extent, right? It's Jacksonville. There's always some kind of dysfunction. But with Peterson calling the shots, that is what you want for a running back in Travis Etienne, right? Again, we know this is going to be some type of a committee. There's no doubt about that. But at RB21, you're not finding a lot of workhorse running backs in that range because they all go earlier. So again, you're looking at Travis Etienne, who probably will have a similar workload to guys going ahead of him, like a Josh Jacobs, an Antonio Gibson, a David Montgomery. But he's likely a better player. And the touches he's going to get are more valuable because so many are going to come in the passing game. And it's going to be with a head coach that knows how to, basically target the running back when it matters, right? Again, you can look at Darren Sproles or Boston Scott or Miles Sanders, all of these guys that inherited targets or operated as a pass-catching back at one time or another and had fantasy success. And Travis Etienne is better than all 3 of them. And that's the big thing there, right? Is Etienne, his floor is kind of probably, 150 carries, 60 to 70 targets, and that's with James Robinson probably being as good as he's been the last couple of seasons. But let's say James Robinson isn't the same guy. And again, I don't think he's going to be coming off of an Achilles injury this quickly. Travis Etienne, that potential goes from, 220, 230 opportunities. It could balloon up to 270, 280 if he takes a bulk of the carries as well. And James Robinson just isn't efficient. He's not the same guy. Or, he even gets re-injured coming back so soon from injury. The path for Travis Etienne, he's a kind of those 1A, 1B handcuffs similar to an Aaron Jones and an A.J. Dillon, right? Except in this scenario, obviously, Travis Etienne would be the Aaron Jones, the running back that we all want because of that pass-catching upside. He already has the rapport with Trevor Lawrence, and the other guys catching passes aren't good, right? I mean, Christian Kirk is fine. I think he's a fine wide receiver. He's not an alpha by any stretch. Marvin Jones is kind of washed up at this point. Laviska Shenault is, who knows? He hasn't proven anything, no matter how much we love him in fantasy or wanted to love him last year. Travis Etienne very well could be the best pass catcher on this team and be playing with his college quarterback that he thrived with. Again, 85 receptions for 1,000 yards in 2 seasons from the backfield. The upside for Travis Etienne is so difficult to ignore in round 4. And again, I get there are good wide receivers. You have Cortland Sutton, you got Jerry Jeudy, Allen Robinson, those type of guys going in his range. I don't really care. Like, again, I love Allen Robinson. He is one of my must-draft wide receivers. I am taking Travis Etienne over him every single time because the upside that Etienne gives you, if he hits that volume and really has a path to a top 10 workload or a top 10 fantasy finish, that's more valuable than Allen Robinson, finishing as a wide receiver 15 or wide receiver 10, which, again, I think he could do. Travis Etienne is that guy, and he's going to show it this year. Don't make the mistake. Don't let him fall past the 4th round. Hell, take him at the end of the 3rd. I don't really care. You want upside. You're playing to win. Etienne is it's a go for the title type of pick, and it's risky, right? There's no way around it. It's risky. But if it works out, again, you're looking at a guy that could kick the crap out of his ADP and give you, 2 RB1s if you hit on him and say Saquon Barkley, at the end of the 1st round there. That's what you're looking at. It's the upside plays. Those are the guys I'm targeting in my redraft leagues this year. All right, guys, that is all we have for you. Again, if you like what we're doing, you like these kind of videos, you think, made some good points, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notifications when we're dropping videos 6 days a week, sometimes multiple times a day. You're getting a ton of content here, especially as we head into the season. So check us out, guys. As always, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.